Welcome to the Momlife podcast. Whether you are in the beginning stages of motherhood, a mother of two, or an empty nester, this podcast is for you. We're talking about everything motherhood and we're not holding anything back. So get ready to join me in today's episode as we talk about some things that are definitely going to help you as you navigate this journey. Hello, beautiful mama. Welcome back to another Momlife podcast episode. I'm your host, fellow mama and friend, Renice, and today we are bringing you another postpartum episode. So this episode pertains mostly if you are a mother that is in your first year. But I will say the top tips that I'm giving you in today's episode, it can help to support you if you're a mom that has kids that still live in the home. These tips are still going to help support you in the area of what we're talking about, and that is your sleep. How do we get better sleep, more sleep when we have children as moms? Because this is something we really struggle with. No matter what stage of motherhood you're in, we struggle in the sleep department. It kind of carries on basically till your kids are out of the house. I know that there's still those sleepless nights when you worry about your kids when they're out of the house, but I'm talking about the consistency that happens. And let me just share with you, personally speaking, I really dealt with this with my son. I have a daughter and I have a son. They are 16 months apart, and my son was my difficult one. I know a lot of us moms will say, I have one that was easy and one that was difficult or whatever. There's always a difficult one apparently. Well, my son was that for me. And you want to talk about lack of sleep? That is an understatement with what I went through with him. And I'll give you a little more detail in that as the episode goes on. But I'm telling you, I'm speaking from experience that you deal with it on a bigger basis in that first year, and then it shifts as your kids get older. And I will explain again how that pertains as we go on in the episode. So let's just get into this. I'm talking about sleep today. I'm talking about getting better sleep and more sleep because this is one of your top 3 basic needs as a mom, especially in your first year. What are those 3? Eating, sleeping, and showering or bathing, whichever term pertains to you that you resonate with the most. Eat, sleep, shower. Those 3 things every mom will tell you is where you struggle for sure, no matter what, as a new mom. Having time to eat and eat hot food, right? Having the time to sleep or getting ample sleep. And then when do I shower? Sometimes it's like, do I eat or do I shower? I don't know which to do first because you have so much going on. Do I nap or do I eat? Do I nap or do I shower? Right? These 3 are very interchangeable when it comes to what do I do and how much they impact you in that first year. So today I'm talking about the sleep aspect of the top 3. Will I do episodes on the other ones? Yes. Will I give you tips for how to get the rest of the top 3 into your everyday a lot easier? Yes, I absolutely will. But for today, we're focusing on sleep. So first of all, you already know that your sleep starts getting interrupted when you're pregnant. Once you hit a certain stage, suddenly comfort when you sleep becomes difficult. Why? Because you have this baby growing inside of you, you have this belly in front of you, and you cannot get comfortable. For me, I'm a belly sleeper. I sleep on my tummy. The most comfortable way for me is on my stomach. And we all know you can't sleep on your stomach once you get to a certain stage of pregnancy. And for me, this was a battle. I was so miserable because all I wanted to do was sleep on my stomach. I just knew how good it would feel and I couldn't do it. And so I was restless a lot, side to side. You're uncomfortable. The baby moves one way and you got to shift around and turn the other way in order to get comfy, or your leg goes to sleep, or maybe you have hip pain or whatever's going on. Your sciatica's acting up, like whatever it is for you. Maybe if you sleep in a certain position, it caused reflux for you. There's numerous different ways that when you are pregnant at that certain stage, that suddenly sleep starts getting interrupted due to the pregnancy. Then you have your baby and you're in that first year, and now you are dealing with the baby figuring out a schedule of sleep. Now, when the baby's inside of you, if the baby's awake and moving around while you're sleeping, it doesn't really bother you so much. Maybe if they're kicking around, you kind of feel that you turn over the other direction. But when they're no longer in your beautiful womb, in the comfort of your belly, now there's crying that happens. Now they are actively impacting your sleep, and they're trying to figure out when they sleep and when they're awake. And you now have to adjust to that specifically, because if they're crying, you can't sleep. If they're awake, you can't be sleeping, right? You got to be awake kind of when they're awake. So it's this battle that we deal with figuring out sleep schedules with your baby. So this is a big impact on nighttime sleeping, even daytime sleeping. Everything revolves around it for a while. And we know that sleep is super important. Having lack of sleep with the night wakings and the diaper changes and the things like that, yes. And then the quality of your sleep changes, because again, comfort, or maybe your thoughts are going and you're worried and you keep waking up to check on the baby just because your mind is, worried about, is the baby breathing? Is the baby okay? Maybe I should just go check really quick. Or, again, having a baby in the house is now different. So everything feels different and it affects you differently. So your quality of sleep changes, your amount of sleep changes. What does this impact? Your lack of sleep for anybody in general, but especially when you are a new mom, it really leads to and impacts a lot of your health, okay? Exhaustion kicks in. You heal a lot slower when you don't get enough sleep, and your body is really doing its best to heal right now after giving birth. No matter what your birth story is, whether you had a cesarean or you had a natural birth, your body is going through a healing process. Well, when you get a lack of sleep, there's slower healing. It takes longer for your body to heal. It's your metabolism lowers. You want an increased metabolism, but the less sleep that you get, the more your metabolism is impacted. Why? Because of hormones. Your hormones are severely impacted when you have a lack of sleep. You end up with more mood swings. Your immune system is compromised. It just doesn't function very well. You also have lower energy. You end up with more brain fog. You have, like I said, that hormone dysregulation that happens. And overall, you feel fatigued. You just feel tired. You feel exhausted. You don't feel like yourself. You're already not feeling like yourself because you're adjusting. But the lack of sleep, your sleep being impacted, really, really impacts your well-being, your health. And what we want to do is fix all that. We want to change that. We want to get it to where you are getting an ample amount of sleep, or at least some good sleep in, to where you are feeling better. So you're not dealing with all those things that I just mentioned, so that you are on the other side of that, so you feel better every single day and you can show up for your baby the way that you really, really, really want to show up. So I'm sure a lot of you that are in that time, or you remember that time, you can relate to what I'm saying. Yes, I know it is hard. It is a difficult piece of that first year, but once you kind of figure that out, things level out a little bit more. And I want for you to master this as quickly as possible. So you have to begin to make sleep a priority for yourself. This is a big part of self-care that I talk about a lot in my postpartum class and in the book that I have created. That book will be available for you guys coming soon, so stay tuned. But I talk a lot, mostly about self-care. about your personal well-being, and sleep is a big part of that. You have to prioritize your self-care and prioritize your well-being, and a big part of that is going to be prioritizing your sleep, which I know can be hard to do. I know it can be hard to do, which is why I'm going to give you 7 tips today that are going to make things a lot easier for you. So, how can you implement more sleep? What do you have to do to change in your everyday life to get better sleep or more sleep? These are 2 questions I want you to kind of play with a little bit. I like to ask you guys questions in these episodes. How can you implement more sleep? How can you get more sleep into your 24 hours? And then what kinds of things can you change? What things can you move around in your schedule, or who can you implement into your life to kind of make it so that you are able to get sleep? And again, I have these tips in here that will help you with that. So let me bring up this cliche saying here, first of all, that sleep when the baby sleeps. You will hear moms say this. You will hear this till the cows come home, okay? Sleep when the baby sleeps. It sounds easy, but it can be really hard. And for me, this one was hard. I heard sleep when the baby sleeps, and I was thinking, well, when my baby sleeps, this is my time to get stuff done. Now I can clean the kitchen or make a sandwich and eat. This is my time to have me time. I can read if I want to read, or watch a show I've been wanting to watch, or scroll on social media so that I can kind of catch up with what I've been missing out on. I was like, that when the baby's napping and sleeping, that's my time for me. What I realized is that tapers off very quickly when I don't have the capacity, because I'm so exhausted, to do any of those things. My brain wasn't functioning right anymore. I felt off. I was exhausted. I was tired. I was emotional. I had all these things going on. And I was like, well, I can't enjoy those things. I can't really focus and do those things. I do need my sleep. So this is something that is a hit or miss. It's something that you can use, or not use. Figure out if it works for you. But I do say it is helpful that if you're able to nap when your baby naps, take that time when you can, because you're going to need it when you can, because you're not sure how that night is going to be with your child. Are they going to be waking up a lot? Are you going to get only an hour of sleep that night? Or are you going to get 5 hours? Like, you just don't know exactly when that's going to be. This is especially key for those first 4 months, because you really don't know what that's going to look like. And that's when you're interrupted the most at night, is in those first 4 months. So for sure, in that time period, when your baby is napping, figure out, is that a good time for you to also take a nap so you can get some sleep in? Your body, your brain, for the average human, actually needs about 90 minutes to get through the full sleep cycle. 90 minutes is that key point that you want to get to. So if your baby is going to nap for an hour, hour and a half, then go for it. Get that nap in. You're going to go through a full sleep cycle, and you're going to feel amazing when you wake up, because it's exactly what your brain needs for that sleep cycle to reset, to reboot, for your body to get what it needs. It's a great time for a nap. Now, if your child is like my child was, which we're talking about my son here, I called him the flash napper, because his naps were literally like a flash. It was like a lightning strike came down super quick. He would not nap. I could not put him down and him go to sleep. And again, you guys, I literally tried everything you can think of. Nothing worked until it was, hey, I'm not putting him down. I'm going to wear him. And I wore my son, and he would nap for a long period of time. I could vacuum, I could make noise, I could talk, I could watch TV, I could read a book, whatever it was that I was doing, this boy would nap. And that's what I figured out worked for me, right? I didn't get a chance with him to lay down and nap very often because he was napping on me. Now, I did do the co-sleeper. I learned that this co-sleeper thing that they have, that you can actually put in your bed and it guards off your baby. They're in their own space and you're right there. That seemed to work. But that meant I was napping when he was napping. So that worked when I would need that sleep during the day. and him get the sleep during the day. But if I was doing things and had stuff to get done and he was a little bit older, wearing him was my way. So see, you figure things out. You find what works for you. I'm telling you, when it comes to your baby sleeping and when it comes to your sleep, you will figure out what works for you. And by golly, I'm telling you, you're going to figure it out, you're going to do it, and you're going to make sure that it happens because you know that you need it. It is that important. So again, take this or leave it, okay? Sleep when the baby sleeps, like this is napping, or maybe don't do that. Maybe get stuff done while your baby naps if you know you're going to be able to get some sleep that night. Because again, you need sleep. You have to make sure you're getting enough in or you're not going to function. And your baby needs you to function. This even impacts your breast milk, you guys, how much you produce, because your body needs to do certain things. And sleep is when your body reboots and revitalizes and re-energizes. There's so much to sleeping that's like all anatomy and scientific. So just trust me on this one to make sure you're getting sleep when you're able to. So again, chores and dishes can wait. Social media can wait. Reading a book, that kind of stuff can wait if you need to get that sleep. Do that at a different time. Do that when you're able to do that at a different time. You will find what works for you. And I do want to add to this. This might change. What works for you the first month might not work the second month. What works for you the first 4 months might not work in your 6-month time or that year mark. But what we are doing is being open to figuring out what works. So if it works right now, do that until it no longer works and then find the next thing that does. You have to be open to that change and understand that your baby's going to go through milestones. There's going to be times that your baby naps great for a while and then maybe they don't nap as well for a bit and then they go back to napping really great again. Or it goes same way with eating, right? Your baby eats really well for a while and then they don't eat as much and then they eat a lot and then they eat back regular. Like things fluctuate and it's okay for the things to fluctuate. Just be very open to it. Don't think that you have to stick to it and plan to it and it's going to be that and it's going to stay that way because you guys, it's not going to stay that way. Things are going to fluctuate and that is okay. Just go with what works right now. Take the next thing as it comes. Don't worry about it. Don't stress about it. Take those things as they come. Now, before I give you these 7 tips, which I'm about to dive into, I want to give you what I promised and tell you a little bit about my sleep situation with my son, because I'm telling you, you guys, I missed sleep so much. So my son, like I already said, he didn't nap. And my son also did not take a pacifier and he did not drink from a bottle. He would not. I was a human, a human bottle. I was a human pacifier. I was everything for him 24/7. So with him not really taking a bottle or a pacifier, it meant that my husband could not step in to feed him when my husband was home, because my husband was gone for the military a lot when the kids were really, really, really little. So when he was there and he would have been able to step in, he couldn't because I had to physically feed my son in night wakings for feedings. It just was not possible for my husband to jump in there. And then, like I said, my son not napping, so I either had to have him on me or next to me sleeping in that co-sleeper thing on the bed in order for him to sleep and me to sleep, right? So imagine what my day was looking like, especially my nights. And my son woke up all the time. He would not sleep by himself. I did everything under the sun. I tried all the things, you guys. I read all the books. And back then, social media wasn't what it was now, because this was 10 years ago. Yes, 10 years ago. I'm aging myself, you guys, but this was like 10 years ago. So imagine that you don't have social media to jump to for all this information. And then where we lived, we didn't really have internet, and internet wasn't what it was today either. You got to think about that. So I'm over here just doing whatever research I could, however I could, and then asking my mom questions on advice she had. And then we didn't really have friends or family around. So I was really just trying my hardest to just figure this out. And I did the best that I could. So sleep was minimal for me because of how often my son woke up to eat, and then the diaper changes and then going back down. I remember dreading the nighttime. I would get so much anxiety about the nighttime because I was so worried because I knew how often he would wake up. I remember sometimes crying at night while I'm feeding him, and my husband would be laying there and he would wake up and there was nothing he could do. He couldn't take him for me to feed him because I had to feed him. So this was a whole thing, you guys, that night times were very, very hard. Then once he was at the point of not eating so much at night and we tapered that off a little bit, then we got to that space of him still waking up crying because he was by himself. So then I implemented the co-sleeper at night because I didn't know what else to do. I needed sleep. I was in such a lack of it that I was not functioning properly. And mind you, I also had a 16-month daughter at the same time, and I needed to show up for her. So I'm showing up for these two, especially when my husband's not there, which is literally a majority of the time. So imagine a 16-month-old and then this newborn, and I'm figuring this out and I'm functioning on maybe an hour of sleep a night for the longest time. I had to figure out how to make that work. So again, getting him to nap while I was wearing him, using that co-sleeper to try with naps, doing that co-sleeper at night when he would. I just really went through lack of sleep for a very, very long time. And then my son, as he got older, a little bit older, once he got through that baby stage and he started hitting toddler stages, he started having night wakings, as in night terrors, these massive night terrors. And you guys, when I say every night, I am saying every single night he would have a night terror. I don't know why. I'm not exactly sure. He couldn't tell me what was going on. He would just wake up screaming. And this lasted for years. He would wake up. So I knew every night when I would go to bed that my son was going to wake up screaming at some point. And sometimes it would happen more than once at night. And I would have to calm him, kind of get him to that wake up stage calmly, be as calm as possible, get him to that stage, and then put him back down. And this was, by that point, he was going to bed by himself. But still, he would wake up screaming, and then by the point where he's running out of his room when he's sleeping in a toddler bed, he's next to me screaming. So I had a lot of sleep interruptions, of the night wakings, of the full-on lack of sleep, and figuring things out and powering through. And so I adapted a lot of tips and tricks along the way to get sleep in when I could. So I want to share with you guys 7 tips that will hopefully help to support you. Now, I know a lot of you cannot relate to my story. Maybe your baby sleeps great, unlike my child. And again, he did flash naps. It was a whole thing, you guys. Maybe some of you relate to some of what I said and you have a baby that doesn't sleep well and therefore you're not getting much sleep. Maybe you relate to the dreading of the nighttime because you just know those night wakings happen. So here are some things that I think will help you guys. And I really hope that you have some key takeaways from this episode that you can implement starting today that will really make things easier for you so that you can feel better in your everyday by getting more sleep. So let's just get into these tips, okay? Enough about my story, which is crazy, I know, but let's get into the good stuff, the meat and the potatoes. So 7 tips. First tip, make sleep a priority. I know I already said this, and I know that sounds cliche, but you do have to prioritize your sleep. You have to know it's important, and you have to make the time for it. Do what you have to do to make sure that it happens. You have to prioritize your sleep. Know that you need it. Make it happen. Okay. Number 2, this is back to the nap thing. Take your naps when possible. Again, if it's while the baby is sleeping, if it's in the middle of the day while maybe your significant other's playing with the baby, boom, that is an opportunity for you to go take a nap. Get it in, my friend, because you need it. And it is glorious when you do get it because you really do feel refreshed. Using sleep masks for your naps is a game changer as well. I'm throwing that one in for free, you guys. Have a sleep mask that works pretty well, that drowns out all of that sunlight, and use that during your naps or in a very dark room if you're able to. But if you can't, use a sleep mask. It really, really does make a difference. If you have downtime and you're resting and you're tired, take a nap. Get it in. Set an alarm for you if that makes you feel better. Even if it's 30 minutes, it's still going to be helpful for you. But again, I highly recommend a total of 90 minutes if you can get it in. But I know as moms, that sounds impossible. So get the nap in for however long it is that you're able. All right, tip number 3. Have a bedtime routine for yourself. And again, I know this can sound difficult. It doesn't have to be elaborate. It doesn't have to be crazy. I'm going to give you some examples here. But you have a nighttime routine for your baby. A lot of you guys will do like bath time, and then you do like lotion, and then you put on the pajamas, and then you put the baby down with the music or whatever it is that you have. Everybody has their own nighttime routine for their babies, or maybe you don't have one at all. Okay, I'm not saying we all have to have one, and it's not bad or good if you do or do not have one. What I'm saying is a lot of us do. So when you're already implementing a sleep routine, a nighttime routine for your baby so that your baby knows it's time for bed, it's very helpful as human beings for us to do the same thing because we're still human. Okay, think of us as like grown-up babies where a sleep routine, letting our bodies know that we're getting ready for bed, that it's going to be time to sleep, is amazing. And you fall asleep so much faster because your body knows. It gets used to that. It's saying, okay, now it's time for bed. It's time for us to go to sleep. It's time to relax. If you give yourself a routine for bedtime or nighttime or nap time, your body's going to know, it's going to adjust accordingly, and you're going to be able to fall asleep faster, easier, and you're gonna have a deeper sleep. Trust me on this. Don't you want a deeper sleep? I know I did. It was like glorious when I got deep sleep. So how can you do this? Quickly with it, some tips for you. Have a very dark room. Blackout curtains are very helpful with that. Keeps everything nice and dark. Some other things that help. A sleep mask, having scents that are very relaxing for you. Lavender is a great one. Chamomile is also another really great thing. Tea, chamomile tea is helpful. Drinking like a warm beverage close to bedtime, not too close because you don't want to get up and have to go to the bathroom, but just something warm close to bedtime. Having music on at night. This one was big for me. Having a little bit of music, soft music playing was awesome. Going to bed at a specific time, having that specific time in mind is also helpful. Reading before bed. Taking your shower or your bath before bedtime. Meditation or journaling is really good to do before bed. It really sets things up. Changing your clothes and, actually putting on pajamas or new pajamas if you've been in your pajamas from the night before all day, because we all know, especially in the first 4 months, you tend to wear the same stuff all day because you don't have time to change. So finding these different things, implementing those, what works for you that will help you as you are going through this bedtime routine, getting yourself ready for sleep so that you fall asleep faster. That means you're getting more sleep in and you're getting better sleep at night. So I hope those tips help you when it comes to a bedtime routine. All right, number 4, shorten your social media and device usage before bed. Okay, the less stimulation that you get before bedtime, the faster and easier you fall asleep. Your brain needs that calm down period, and it does make all the difference. This is why it's a great time to like journal or listen to music or meditate or just lay down and relax and close your eyes and just breathe. Think about, your favorite things or count down from 100, whatever works for you. Just shortening your social media and device usage, especially closer to bed. The more often you do that, the better your sleep will be and the faster you will fall asleep. All right, number 5, have a plan with your significant other or family member or anybody that lives with you and is helping with the baby. Have a plan with them when it comes to sleep and responsibility. Again, this is something I go over in my book. This is something I go over in my postnatal classes. It's a big thing that is super important and makes all the difference in the world for you. So have a plan. And what I mean by that is talk with them and say, hey, I need my sleep. I know you need your sleep. How can we work together to make it so that we both are able to get sleep instead of it being one person is getting all that rest and the other person is getting absolutely nothing? Because again, for me, especially with my son, you guys, I got like no sleep. And when my husband was home, he was sleeping the whole night. And I remember feeling resentment towards him. And he wasn't doing anything wrong. He was sleeping. There was nothing he could do. Now, can you imagine now if he was just laying there sleeping and my son took a bottle and he wasn't getting up to help me sometimes, then, I mean, that would have been full on resentment for a reason, right? Like we all can relate to that. And maybe some of you are experiencing that right now where you are with your significant other and they're not helping you at night and therefore your sleep is really suffering the most. So this is a great time to talk with your partner, to talk with them and say, can we come up with a plan? Because I need my sleep and I'm not functioning right and I'm not feeling okay about it. And I would really like to get some sleep as well. Can we make it so that it's easy for both of us, right? And then you figure that out. Taking turns for night wakings is great. Take a night of the week. Maybe you do Monday night, he does Tuesday nights, however you want to work it. Or maybe it's per waking. You did the first night waking, maybe he does the next night waking, right? Or, maybe the baby's crying because they need the diaper change. Okay, your turn. Now it's, his turn. Whatever it is for you, figure out what works best for your situation and make a plan with your significant other. It's going to change the game. This also pertains to if you're breastfeeding and your significant other wants to help and your baby will take a bottle. Think about pumping. Pump that day prior or whenever you can, whenever you get time, you're watching TV, you can pump. Save that milk and then that way your significant other can get up to feed the baby on those nights where you'll be able to get sleep and they can feed the baby with a bottle and it's still breast milk, right? So there's different things you can do that will really help you with this. Make that plan, okay? Number 6. You guys, if you're feeling anxious, so these last 2 tips are really helpful if you are the type of mother, which I was with this too, that feels anxious at night. Maybe you're not getting a lot of rest because you keep waking up because you're worried about your baby or you're feeling anxious in some way, shape, or form. Okay, so number 6, which is the first one of these 2, is make sure you have monitors for the baby, on the baby if they're in their own room. Have those monitors on, have them turned up to a volume that you hear easily. That is a great one. Another one is maybe put the crib in your room. If you find yourself getting up and going into their room because you're worried about it, put the crib in your room for a while. Or you could use a bassinet. I did this. Or do what I did for a while, which is the co-sleeper. They sell co-sleepers that you can put on the side of the bed and they like lock in. It's a whole thing. They even have like these net things now that almost is like the same material as a playpen and it literally hooks up to your bed all the way around and your baby can like lay in the bed even if they're a toddler and they can't fall off the bed is the idea there. You have to be careful with co-sleeping. I'm not saying that, all this stuff is do these things, right? Everybody is different. Everybody has different beliefs about different things. I'm just giving you some ideas that you guys can play with. So there's lots of different ways you can make that work with your baby being in the same vicinity as you to make you feel a little less anxious, okay? I will put this disclaimer. If you are sleeping with your baby in the bed with you without a co-sleeper, please be careful. Please, please, please be careful because that can be very, very dangerous. I just wanted to put that disclaimer up. But if that's your choice on what you're doing, love it. Spend that time with your baby. Get that in. Just make sure that you're being careful. Okay. The last one that I have for you, which is tip number 7. This can be pricey. Okay, this is where money comes into play, but is very helpful and can help ease your mind and make things easier for you, and you'll be able to get more sleep. You can hire someone to help with the baby. Now, you can hire a doula to help with day stuff and night stuff. A doula will definitely, like a doula or a babysitter or a nanny, whatever works for you, can really help so that you can take that time to get those naps in. Right? So you can nap, they're watching the baby if your significant other isn't there. Or at nighttime, maybe the doula's there at night and watches the baby for you so that when the baby has night wakings, it's taken care of. You can get some sleep. Your significant other can get some sleep. They also hire night nurses. Night nurses are great for this. They do all of that stuff at night for you, so you don't even have to worry about it. A baby nurse, night nurse, whatever you want to call them, they're very, very helpful. So if that's an option for you, then jump on it so that you are able to get more sleep. This is about your well-being as well, so that you can show up for your baby. That's really a big key factor here, is you really want to be able to show up for your baby to the best of your ability. Oh, also another thing for at night, babies love that white noise. So any kind of white, they even have apps now on your phone that you can download with white noise. Meditative music is really great for it too. Babies seem to respond very well to that. So if you just have that music on or white noise on in their nursery, or even if they're sleeping in your room, you have it on in your bedroom, it's going to benefit you and it's going to benefit your baby. So that's kind of a win-win situation there. So that's another little throw-in tip for you guys that you can use to really help you get some sleep and for your baby to get some sleep. That is huge. I know that I wanted my baby to get as much sleep as possible, as good of sleep as possible, because I knew that they were growing and being healthy, and then I'm able to breathe, and then I'm able to sleep better, and then therefore that impacts my health and my well-being as well. So those are my top 7 tips for you guys, plus a couple, give or take. So just to sum those up, number 1, make sleep a priority. Number 2, take naps when possible. Number 3, have a bedtime routine for yourself. I know you have one for your baby, so you got to do it for yourself. Believe me, it makes a difference. Number 4, shorten your social media and device usage shortly before bed. Make sure you are just kind of taking that out of the way. Number 5, have a plan with your partner, some kind of plan so you can do some teamwork so that both of you, or all 3 of you, right, including the baby or children, other children in the household, whatever your situation is, everybody's getting more sleep. Everybody's going to feel much better. And then number 6, if you're feeling anxious, use monitors, do the white noise, have a crib in the room or bassinet or a co-sleeper in the room. Meditative music is helpful with that as well. And then number 7, you can hire someone, if that is an option for you, to help at night or during the day when it comes to you getting a nap in, or again at night with you getting enough sleep. So that is what I have for you. Hopefully something in this was helpful for you guys, that it was supportive, and that you were able to take that with you and start implementing that starting today. Because you guys, I want you to feel better. I want for you to implement this so that you feel better, you think better, your mood is better, your body's healing fast, you have more energy, you feel healthier overall, your hormones are balancing quicker, you're just overall doing better, because you deserve that. You truly do. And I know you want to feel better in your everyday. And sleep is a big piece of that. Okay, that is all that I have for you. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, share it with a fellow mom. I ask, please share it with a fellow mom. It gets this podcast to more people in the world. It really will help somebody in ways you may not know. So please share this. I want to thank you for showing up for yourself. I want to thank you for listening to this podcast episode. If you have questions about anything I mentioned, feel free to reach out to me. All of that information is in the show notes. If anybody forgets to tell you today, you are doing the best you can with what you have, and that is more than enough. I look forward to chatting with you in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with a fellow mom, and I will chat with you in the next episode.